By the fifth day, Vex had begun to anticipate Ellis's arrival. Their sessions had extended beyond mere technical repairs, evolving into conversations that left her neural pathways humming with unfamiliar sensations. Your interface is responding well to the recalibrations, Ellis noted, reviewing her most recent scans. The memory fragmentation has decreased by 60%. Yet you still look concerned, Vex observed, finding herself increasingly attuned to his expressions. Ellis set down his tools. The emotional suppression protocols keep reactivating at higher intensities. It's like your system is overcorrecting, fighting harder against what it perceives as a threat. Emotions are inefficient, Vex recited, though the words felt hollow. Emotions are information, Ellis countered. They tell us what matters. Your interface is designed to regulate them, not eliminate them entirely. Vex studied him, this human who spoke of Arcturian technology with such understanding. You weren't assigned to me by accident, were you? A slight smile crossed his face. Admiral Zeth suggested I might be uniquely qualified to help you. Because you understand our technology? Because I understand that technology alone can't heal certain wounds. Their eyes met, and Vex felt an unfamiliar warmth spreading through her chest. Without conscious thought, she reached out, her fingers brushing against his wrist where he'd rolled up his sleeve to work. Your pulse is elevated, she noted, feeling the rhythm beneath her fingertips. Yes, he admitted simply, making no move to pull away. The ship's alert system shattered the moment, blaring warnings of a system failure in the propulsion section. Vex jumped to her feet, instantly commander again. I need to go. I'll come with you, Ellis said, gathering his equipment. Your interface is still unstable under stress. They rushed through corridors, Vex barking orders into her communicator as they approached the engineering bay. Smoke billowed from damaged conduits, and emergency force fields flickered erratically. Coolant breach, Vex assessed instantly. Manual override required. Before she could issue commands, Ellis was moving, slipping through the momentary gaps in the force field to reach the override panel. Ellis, stop, Vex shouted, but he was already inside, hands flying across the controls. The system stabilized, force field strengthening as the coolant flow redirected. But as Ellis turned to exit, a burst of energy from a damaged relay struck him, sending him crashing to the deck. Vex moved without thinking, overriding safety protocols to reach him. His skin was burned along his left arm, face contorted in pain. Why did you do that? She demanded, helping him to his feet. Engineering crew would have handled it. They wouldn't have reached it in time, he winced. And you would have gone in yourself. She guided him to the medical bay, remaining while the medical synth treated his injuries. The sight of his burned skin triggered echoes of Cygnus, humans falling as fires consumed the shuttle. You risked yourself unnecessarily, she said, voice uncharacteristically soft. Ellis looked up at her. Some risks are worth taking. Later that night, Vex found herself outside his quarters, ostensibly to check his recovery. When he opened the door, dressed in simple civilian clothes, the formal excuse died on her lips. I keep seeing them, she admitted. My team on Cygnus. When you were hurt today. Ellis gently pulled her inside, seating her on the edge of his bed. Tell me about them. Not as soldiers. As people. And remarkably, she did, speaking of Keller's terrible jokes, Yamato's handcrafted tea ceremonies, William's collection of ancient Earth books. With each memory, her interface flickered less, as though finally accepting rather than fighting the emotions tied to these humans she had lost. When she finally fell silent, Ellis's hand covered hers, warm and steady. I've never spoken of them that way before, she whispered. They weren't just tools to you, Ellis said. That's why their loss damaged your systems. You cared. Vex looked down at their joined hands. Caring is dangerous. Yes, Ellis agreed softly. And necessary. When she raised her eyes to his, something shifted between them, a barrier falling away. Vex leaned forward hesitantly, unfamiliar with human customs, but driven by an impulse that bypassed her logical processes entirely. Their lips met tentatively, then with growing certainty. Ellis's hand came up to cradle her face with such gentleness that something inside her seemed to crack open, releasing emotions her interface had suppressed for years. Breaking protocol had never felt so essential. Your neural pathways show significant reconfiguration, Ellis noted, examining Vex's latest scans in her private quarters. 3 weeks had passed since their first kiss, 3 weeks of clandestine meetings and gradual healing. Is that your professional assessment? Vex asked, a hint of teasing in her voice that would have been unthinkable a month ago. Ellis smiled, setting aside the scanner to trace his fingers along her jawline. Professionally speaking, your interface is adapting to emotional integration rather than suppression. Personally speaking, he leaned in, pressing his lips to hers. You're transforming in ways I find extraordinary. Their kisses had become a form of medication, each touch seemingly rewiring her neural patterns. Vex had returned to duty, her performance impeccable, yet fundamentally changed. Where once she'd commanded through cold efficiency, she now led with a deeper understanding of her crew, both Arcturian and human. I've discovered something, Ellis said when they finally broke apart. His expression had grown serious. While working on your neural interface, I found encrypted data fragments, communications between high-level commanders regarding Cygnus. Vex stiffened. Those files are classified. They're falsified, Ellis countered. The insurgent threat was manufactured. Your team died because someone wanted that evacuation to fail, wanted evidence that humans and Arcturians couldn't work together effectively. That's impossible, Vex whispered, though her interface flashed warning signals that suggested otherwise, patterns that matched her long-buried doubts about the mission. Ellis pulled out a data crystal. The evidence is here. Someone high in the Imperial Command is working to maintain segregation policies, ensuring Arcturians remain in power while humans stay classified as tools. Vex took the crystal, its weight seemingly multiplied by the implications. If this is true, it means your team died for a lie, Ellis finished softly. And we're both in danger if anyone discovers what we've found, or what we've become to each other. The realization hung between them, heavy with consequence. Vex placed the crystal on her nightstand, then turned back to Ellis, suddenly desperate to feel connected rather than isolated with this knowledge. Stay with me tonight, she whispered. Completely. Ellis's eyes widened slightly. Are you certain? Arcturian-human bonding is. Discouraged, she finished. Like so many things I now question. Their bodies met with careful exploration, Ellis guiding her through human expressions of intimacy while she shared the Arcturian ways of connection, neural synchronization through the delicate ports at her temples and spine. When his fingers brushed these sensitive areas, electricity seemed to dance across her skin. May I? He asked, his breath warm against her neck. She nodded, showing him how to connect the specialized neural bridges from her interface kit. As the connection established, Ellis gasped, experiencing her sensations alongside his own, a feedback loop of pleasure and emotion that transcended physical touch. This is how Arcturians truly bond, she whispered, her hands mapping the unfamiliar landscape of his entirely human body. Complete vulnerability. Their joining became something neither purely Arcturian nor human but beautifully hybrid, his physical warmth complementing her neural precision, her technological awareness enhancing his emotional openness. In those moments of connection, Vex finally understood what her interface had fought so hard to deny, the extraordinary potential when different forms of consciousness intertwined. Afterward, lying in the soft glow of starlight through her viewport, Ellis traced patterns on her skin. What will you do about the data? Vex stared at the ceiling. What I must. But not alone. She turned to face him. You've taught me that some connections are worth fighting for. Some truths must be faced, no matter how painful. The ship's communication system interrupted, Admiral Thrane's voice filling the room. Commander Vex, report to the bridge immediately. Security has detained a suspected spy in the engineering sector. They exchanged alarmed glances, both recognizing the timing couldn't be coincidental. They know, Ellis whispered. Vex pressed her forehead to his. Get to the escape pods. Wait for my signal. I won't leave without you. You must. She kissed him fiercely. I need time to download the evidence and clear our exit path. As Ellis reluctantly dressed, Vex felt her interface stabilizing rather than fragmenting in the face of danger, integration rather than suppression providing the clarity she needed. 3 hours, she promised. If I don't reach you by then. Ellis touched her face one last time. You will. Vex strode onto the bridge with practiced military precision, her face betraying nothing of the turmoil within. Admiral Thrane stood by the command chair, his aging Arcturian features set in cold disapproval. Commander Vex, I understand you've been receiving specialized medical attention from a human technician. Ellis Porter has been treating my neural interface malfunction, sir, she replied neutrally. And accessing classified Imperial data, Thrane countered. He's been arrested for espionage. His execution is scheduled for 0800 tomorrow. Though her heart ceased, Vex's interface remained stable, the integration of emotion providing strength rather than weakness. On what evidence, Admiral? His neural scanner contained fragments of classified Cygnus data. Thrain's eyes narrowed. Data you provided access to, I suspect. May I examine the evidence against him? As his commanding officer during the repair assignment, I bear responsibility. Thrain studied her. Very well. Perhaps seeing his treachery will correct whatever malfunction has led you to fraternize with a human tool. As they walked to the detention level, Vex's mind raced through possibilities. The data crystal remained hidden in her quarters. If she could reach Ellis, transfer the evidence. The detention cell contained only a bloodied uniform. Where is he? Vex demanded. Special interrogation, Thrain replied coldly. Commander Lenz is extracting everything he knows about Arcturian neural systems, and about you. Vex's hands tightened into fists. Ellis Porter has committed no crime. His work on my interface was authorized. His work on your interface revealed an interesting truth. Thrain stepped closer. You've developed emotional attachments. A weakness we've engineered Arcturians to overcome. Not a weakness, Vex corrected. Newfound clarity flooding her systems. An evolution. One you've been suppressing. Thrain's expression hardened. Your interface needs complete replacement. Report to medical. Vex moved with lightning speed, her hand connecting with Thrain's neural port. Years of engineering expertise guided her fingers to the emergency override sequence. The Admiral froze, paralyzed temporarily by the neural disruption. The Cygnus mission was sabotaged, she hissed. You sacrificed my team to maintain the fiction of human inferiority. Using Thrain's command codes, she accessed the security systems, locating Ellis in Interrogation Chamber 3. The sight of him strapped to the neural extractor sent rage pulsing through her systems. Rage her interface now channeled rather than suppressed. Guards fell before her calculated assault as she fought her way to him. When she reached the chamber, Commander Lenz barely had time to turn before her neural disruptor sent him collapsing to the floor. Taylor, Ellis whispered, blood trickling from his temple where the extractor had pierced his skin. She freed him with trembling hands. I'm sorry. I should have seen the danger sooner. You came for me, he said in wonder. Against your own people. You are my people now, she replied, supporting him as they moved toward the hangar bay. You rewired more than my interface, Ellis. You showed me what integration truly means. They fought their way to a scout ship, Vex's tactical brilliance and Ellis's unexpected resilience making them formidable opponents. As they prepared for launch, shipwide alerts blared. They've discovered Thrain, Ellis said, hastily programming the navigation. Vex inserted the data crystal into the ship's computer. Let them come. This evidence goes to both Arcturian High Command and Earth's United Council. The truth about Cygnus, and about what we can become together, deserves to be known. As their ship broke free of the docking clamps, pursuit vessels scrambled to launch. Vex's hands flew across the tactical controls, creating a cascade failure in the launch bay force fields that would delay pursuit without causing casualties. Where to? Ellis asked as they accelerated toward the jump point. The fringe colonies, Vex decided, where humans and Arcturians already live together, outside Imperial control. Ellis reached across the console, his hand finding hers. Your career, your position. We're built on lies, she finished. What we found is built on truth. As the ship entered jump space, Ellis pulled her into his arms. Their foreheads touched, his warmth meeting her cool skin in perfect balance. Your interface? He asked. Will it accept these changes permanently? Vex smiled, a full, unreserved expression that transformed her face. It already has. You taught me that true evolution comes not from rejection of difference, but from integration. Integration, Ellis echoed, kissing her softly. I like that word. The stars streaked past their viewport, infinite possibilities unfolding before them. Vex had entered this journey as a commander who saw humans as tools. She continued it as a woman who had discovered humanity within herself, and love within a human who had repaired far more than her systems. Retriclod can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.